that it has been a slow and deliberate pushing black people into an area because some white person wants it this way. This is a master bedroom with a bath and 2 closets, his and her closet.
Runyon Heights is so popular, the houses sell quickly here, even at $150,000 plus.
A bath with a shower. All right, this is a little surprise if you want to see the rest of the house.
Yeah, move through.
This is a full bath here, and it's a spacious kitchen.
Black buyers say Runyon Heights is often the only East Side neighborhood open to them.
Stay in your area, don't come in mine. That's how I look at it. That's what I think about it.
You can work with some of them, and you can go different places with some of them. But you move next to them, and then they finish with you.
I looked for a house originally when I bought this house. I was steered into certain neighborhoods. I was taken to certain houses. I was shown what, real estate people wanted to show me and nothing else. And when I complained that I felt I wasn't getting value for my money and what they were showing me, they said, well, this is what we have.
People that we've talked to insist that any black family who wants to move into any white neighborhood, as long as they've got the money to buy the house, is welcome.
I've met some really great people in Yonkers who happen to be white, and I have been called nigger driving my car down the road. So there's the whole gamut.
Yonkers on a whole is prejudice.
It's just a thing that is racial in Yonkers.
Put it over on the west side where the blacks live already. Don't bring them over here.
It doesn't matter whether my next door neighbor is another teacher or another broker or another business person. What does matter is, see a nice guy. When I walk down the street and say, hi, good morning, does he say good morning back?
Walter Williams, who grew up in Runyon Heights, shares that philosophy with Wayne, who is 10 years old and trying to understand the fight over public housing in Yonkers.
Do you think that those kids didn't want the poor people moving in just because they were poor or because they were black? Do you think it's a racial thing?
They said that it's because they're not really dressed right. They may not take baths very often because they're not used to having a shower or something maybe, but they don't really want them in the neighborhood because they just like their friends around them.
How do you feel about it yourself? What's your opinion?
I don't really mind. I mean, it's good to have poor people get a house that they can afford, instead of having to live in this apartment that's, terrible.
The View from Runyon Heights.
When Delta Airlines Steve Masutka found a wedding ring,
the person who lost a ring, please return to Delta's gate B6.
I'll be standing over here.
He knew someone had to be very unhappy.
Young man, are you the one who found my ring?
Yes, ma'am.
This means so much to me. How can I repay you?
It's just part of my job, ma'am.
Delta love to fly and it shows. Ace is the place.
Clean up the yard with this Ames lawn rake for only $2.49 and light up the place with outdoor floodlights, 99 cents after rebate.
Hey, lots of good stuff here. All over. You can't miss it. Hey, let me tell you, Ace is a place for me.
If you're a woman who's used Correctol, there's something you should try. Today's Correctol. Oh, it's still as gentle as it always was, but now it's even more effective. Today's Correctol still works gently overnight, but now even more effective.
Some car warranties give you protection on your powertrain beyond the first year, which is fine if you are only buying a powertrain. But GM is the only American manufacturer to protect the powertrain and the thousands of other parts that go into all our 89 cars and light trucks. Everything. For 3 years or 50,000 miles. It covers parts, labor, and towing. The GM Bumper to Bumper Plus warranty. Longer protection for more of your car or truck.
This is Waverly Street. It used to be primarily Italian, but today it's a melting pot that is not boiling over. Down there live Italians, along with Spanish and Portuguese and others. And in the middle, the Black Housing Project, Waverly Arms. Unlike much of Yonkers, the people here say it all works. Take Jack Mota. He came here from Portugal and lives in a house on Waverly Street.
The neighborhood right now, it sticks together, and the people are united. All right, go ahead, give it a shot. For a neighborhood to be that well mixed is an advantage for me and also my family. We got it, my man, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
I'll hold this. Go ahead.
People of God will not be destroyed. The innocent people, Lord, will have homes and jobs.
Take Willa Mae King. She came here from Georgia and lives in a project across the street from Jack Mota, a place much like the projects that the city council had been fighting.
We don't have drugs, we don't have a lot of robbery, we don't have graffiti on our walls. There are a lot of us are poor people, but yet we are morally advantaged. The Bible says that all men are created equal. So this is what I see in Waverly Street, because all of us as different nationalities have come together.
How has it worked here? Why has it worked here when it doesn't work in so many other places? That being a multiracial, multi-religious, multi-ethnic background neighborhood that has a sense of family, a sense of looking after one another, and a sense that is absolutely determined not to let itself deteriorate.
18 years ago, the Reverend Evans came around to the homeowners around here and said he wanted to build a project across the street from our house. We asked him, what type of a project will it be, Reverend? He said, no higher than any of the houses that you have here. Will it be controlled? Will it be managed? He said, certainly it will. He said, well, Reverend, go right ahead.
You cannot build a house, whether it's a one or two family house or a development, and walk away from it. It's got to be attended to. And I happen to be the chairman of the board of this one, board of directors, and anything that I see that is not kosher, the board of directors goes to management and say, hey, this has to stop, or else.
People go out and they clean the streets, they'll sweep the sidewalks, they'll wash it down, and it's a mixed neighborhood, and people just care about each other.
It seemed as though everybody had the same goal in mind, as to coming together as one.
Blacks, Italians, Portuguese, right now we're together because we gave it a chance.
I care about what happens to the man across the street, because if it can happen to him, it can happen to me.
I might like spaghetti and meatballs, and she might like chitterlings and collard greens, which incidentally I like too. But, I mean, as long as we talk together and let one another know where we're coming from, I'm pretty sure we'll.
And what would you say to the person who, hearing that, responds, listen, beautiful, glad it works for you. I'm pleased that it works on your block, but not on my block, not in my town. Couldn't work, wouldn't work, and I don't want to try it.
Give it a chance, try it. Try it. Sit down with some people and try it. Sit down and get to know them.
You can't turn your back to it because it's always going to be there. So give it a chance, you'll be surprised at what happens.
The courts have already ordered that low-income housing be built in middle-class neighborhoods in other towns and cities. Right now, about a dozen face lawsuits similar to the one that ripped Yonkers apart. And experts say there'll be many more in the years ahead. While Yonkers tries to heal its wounds, across the country, the battle may be just beginning. I'm Dan Rather. Until next week, that's 48 hours.
Come on, Tyler. Hurry up, boy. Come on, Tyler.
When it's cold and rough outside,
Come on, Tyler.
try something warm and creamy inside. Cream of wheat hot cereal or to mix and eat. Their smooth texture always lets the taste come through.
Again?
2 warm ways to come in from the cold.
Put a little love in your heart.
For a taste you'll love with all your heart, close your eyes and taste this. Introducing Promise Extra Light Spread. With half the saturated fat, salt, and calories of regular margarine. Without cholesterol, without sacrificing taste. So enjoy it with a passion.
Put a little love in your heart.
New Promise Extra Light.
As a candidate, Michael Dukakis called Boston Harbor an open sewer. As governor, he had the opportunity to do something about it, but chose not to. The Environmental Protection Agency called his lack of action the most expensive public policy mistake in the history of New England. Now, Boston Harbor, the dirtiest harbor in America, will cost residents $6 billion to clean. And Michael Dukakis promises to do for America what he's done for Massachusetts.
While the Today Show is off the air for Olympic coverage, watch CBS This Morning with Kathleen Sullivan and Harry Smith. You change the channel, we'll change your day.
See you tomorrow. We've had our career, we've had nice cars, beautiful homes, but no family.
Next on 48 Hours.
We've been after it 5.5, 6 years.
Infertility and the desperate struggle to have a child.
You have one beautiful egg.
Modern science. Coming up with answers.
What we're doing is putting technology down on the table and saying, let's create your child.
It's complete.
And tough new questions.
I just don't think buying babies is the answer.
Making babies. Next week.
Mama and Daddy, huh?
Saturday, catch college football action on CBS Sports. The Fighting Tigers of LSU battle the Florida Gators live at 2:30 Eastern Saturday. Now stay tuned as Jane Fonda, Anne Bancroft, and Meg Tilly star in Agnes of God, next on the CBS Thursday Movie. For a transcript of 48 Hours, send $3 to Journal Graphics, 267 Broadway, New York, New York, 10007.
It's a meeting of two high